Alright, peoples. It's been a little while since we saw this guy, huh? Yeah, before we can properly ride this guy, we need to have some brakes. So I did the rear brakes already. So now that we have the rear brakes done, we can get on to doing these front brakes. So what you want to do is get your machine in the air and get the wheels off. And I didn't show you how to do that because, by God, you better know how to do that if we're even watching these videos. Right? Just get the wheels off and get your brakes exposed. And let's see here. We're going to use a pretty cool method. We're going to reverse bleed them. So as you can see up here, the reservoir is empty. Totally empty. Right? So what we're going to do, I'll put a link to this up here as well, like right up there. And we're going to take this little syringe right here. We're going to fill it. We're going to attach a hose on the end, actually. You're on your own with the hose. The hose, this hose I have is actually a spare vacuum for a carburetor. So it's a vacuum hose for a carburetor. Anyway, what you want to do is get yourself a syringe and a tube. And what we're going to do, we're going to fill this dog up with the brake fluid, put it right up here onto the bleeder screw, and then we're just going to pump brake fluid back up into the reservoir. Boom! So let's do it. And since this is a little different than the back, there's two brakes, obviously. I'm going to try, I'm not going to pump it all the way up to the reservoir through this guy yet. I'm going to try to pump it, and I'm going to try to get it up into the first level of the first tee in here and see if we can't finish it off with the other side. So first we'll push all the air out of it. Boom. Then you want to push the air out if you can. Whoa, 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 whoa. There, we did. And then pluck this sucker right up on there. Make sure that it's open. And I'm going to go right about there is all I'm going to do. Half of this, because I want to make sure that we get to the other side as well. All right, now we're going to open up the other side because I looked in the reservoir. We didn't get any in the reservoir yet, so my plan is working. So we're going to open up this guy. We're going to get our air bubbles out again. Okay. You want to take a look up here at the top and make sure. Nope. Uh-oh. It's coming out the tee. So, that sucks. So yeah, we're dripping out of the tee. So apparently that's not tight. And that's not cool, man. Streamlined brake system. I didn't do anything to them. I just installed that thing. So apparently they do not tighten their shit. All right, so note to anybody who's doing this and you got brand new streamlined brakes and you got that tee. Apparently they do not tighten it, which I took for granted and figured that, you know, why would you not? They did not. So make sure your shit's tight. All right, let's try this again. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, we're coming through. There we are. Now, all right, so check it, fellas and girls, if you're watching also. I don't discriminate. The brake fluid has now reached up here. But now we're gonna have to add fluid and do it the old-fashioned way, because see, some of it went down already. Let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna add it back up through the other side. We get the air out. There we go. And then, now we gotta watch the reservoir up there. All right, we're full up there. Now, look at that, we got pressure already. See that, folks? That's easy right there. Started on one side, we went up through. Actually, that might have been a blessing in disguise to have that, have it leak out of the hose right there at the T. I might do that next time. That seemed to work good, because then some of the air came out as well. And then we went to the other side and we tightened it. And then we tightened the T stop there. Then we went back to the other side and boom! Look at that. Our fluid's up and I got a little pressure already. You can see it's going down a little. There is a little bit of air in there. You can see the bubbles. But now we just bleed it traditionally and it should take about 5 minutes and we'll be done. All right, so we're just gonna pour a little bit in here. Now we're past full, but that's okay because we're going to empty some out. All right, so now we're just going to pump these up. Then we're going to hold it, and we're going to try to get that to go into the cup, one-handed. And it's not going to work, is it? Well, you know what? We got a rag down there. We're just going to have to let it go. Oh yeah, there it was. All right, now let's do the same to the other side, but how are we going to do that? We need to top this guy off a little bit. There we go. We got front brakes, baby. And now we're just going to top it off. Alright, so before we can seal this baby up and call it done, I just realized that there is no seal in the bottom of this master cylinder. So, luckily, I happen to have a crappy master cylinder that has a broken bolt right here in it. And, but guess what? What? It has the seal in it down here. So we're gonna take that guy out and we're gonna put it in here. And hopefully we can do that without letting any air in the system, because we already have these bled. So let's try it. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to suck some of the fluid out with the syringe we use to put it in. And I'm gonna get it just down so that when I stick my fingers in there, it doesn't overflow. And then I'll put the seal in there, and hopefully we can just get it done. All right, let's do it. All right, so we're gonna suck a little bit of the fluid out. That should be enough. Now when I put my fingers in there, it won't overflow over the top and stuff like that, but there's enough in there to keep it doing its thing. So hopefully we can do this. All right, so let's just put this guy in there. Okay, now the way it was in the other one was this little thing was lined up right about there. I don't know if this matters where that thing was. Ooh, there you go. Okay, now that will work perfectly, and that explains why when I was bleeding the brakes, it was pumping up and getting on my arm and stuff. That makes perfect sense now. I was kind of wondering, I thought something was crazy, but I totally forgot about this little guy, and now we have it. So hopefully this should still work. Let's add the fluid back in there. Now we're just gonna drop it and not put it in there because we don't want the air. We don't want quite as much as before, because now that we have that little tube, that little seal in there, it took up a little bit of space. So there we are. There we go. And it doesn't spill out the top like it was before. Imagine that. Now let's put our cap back on. Perfection. Now we got front brakes. Now we can put the wheels on. Drive the shit out of it, which we're gonna do. Woo! I think it feels even better with that thing in there. Perfection. We have front brakes. Woo! All right. Now we can tear this dog up. Let's take it for a ride. Let's put it back together. Oh yeah, we got to do the wiring. So yeah, let's get on to the wiring, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I've done. Because, you know, I told you I'd get back to this guy. So let's get back onto this. I'll show you the wiring. Alright, so as you remember, a while back, I wasn't wiring this up traditionally as the hand switch up here. This is the only switch I have on the handlebars, and it's just to start it, right? This is the starter switch. You know, anyway, here, let me, I'll run down what I did. And if anybody has any further questions or comments, just go ahead and let me know. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to this stuff, because I'll keep on updating this guy right here. And my current build that we're working on right now is a 200X 3-wheeler. Yeah, the old 1986 Honda ATC 200X. So pop the playlist up there if you want to check that build out. It's underway. And there it is over there. That's where we are. We are getting all of that prepped up. We're going to send the frame out to powder coat. We're going to start tackling the gas tank, and we got the motor tore down most of the way. We're going to get more of that done. Yeah, we're going to be getting into that right there. So anyway, back to this guy. So here's what I've done. This is the switch right here. This is the switch to start the vehicle right here. And you turn the key right here, which I made that custom bracket right there. I don't know if you can see it. I actually need to move this thing forward. Let me get a light on that son of a bitch. So yeah, let's pop this flashlight on it. I'll show it to you. Look at that. So there's the custom bracket. Woo! That dog is nice, huh? So we got the key, the ignition key right there, and we have the neutral light and the reverse light on there. And all it is just a custom little bracket. Drilled some holes and popped the switches in there. I did a little bit of that in the previous video, which I'll show you right up there, where you can check that out. But yeah. So anyway, let's get back down into what we're doing down here. So yeah, the starter right here, it basically comes down. I got it wired up to the side right here, and comes down, and it goes right here. And I added these little handy quick clips, right? So you can just undo these. So you can just pull these out and move this around as I need to. So basically this uses the OEM switch right here, right? This is the OEM switch. All right, so check this out. This is what I've done. This switch right here, this wire right here, is basically the OEM hand switch that goes on the handlebars. So that is this right here. So that is the OEM switch with the starter, which we've rerouted, and the on-off switch, which I bypassed, and we don't even use this at all. And here is the headlights on-off and the brights and the dims, right? So basically this, I cut it off of the, that's this wire right here. It would have been connected onto here. I just cut all the wires. So let me run down what happens here. And then I figured out what they all do. Basically, here you got what they are. So the green is a ground. The engine stop is, that's this on-off switch right here, right? So if you were to touch this to this, that grounds out the motor, and that means it won't run. So basically, by just leaving this out, that's what I've done. That wire right here, the green is a ground, and this would kill the motor if it's on. So what I did was basically that. I just taped this off. So this wire does nothing, because I don't care about that. I'm just going to use the key. The key turns it on and off, and we'll start it when the key's on, and when we're done, we'll shut it off with the key. I don't need any kill switch. I'm cool like that. I'm a trail rider. I'm not anything in this, oh, if you get out of control, you're gonna... Dude, I've been riding for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, long time. I have never, not once, ever, even come close to, I have never used this switch in my life. It always stays on, always. So, on my quad, I bypassed it. Done, it's over. Anyhow, let's move on. So, basically, oh yeah. So, this is the starter switch right here. Is the yellow with the red line, the red stripe. Yellow with the red stripe, and the black with the large white dashes is the starter switch. So we took care of these. This is now the starter switch, right? So that's where these two come in. So basically we have these guys right here. These are quick connectors that plug into each other, right? So if we take one of these yellow, we put one on one side of the wire, we put one on the other side of the wire, and then we can connect them and unconnect them as we see fit. So I did that because I wired it all out here, and I'm going to put it in there, in front, right behind the headlight. So we'll get into that in a minute. First, let's get into what all these wires do, so in case you would like to do this to your own stuff, you'll know what all these do. So anyway, so these come from the starter switch, and they are exactly as the same that follows in here. There are these two right here, right? So then I just used the switch wiring to go into these two right here. And since the kill switch is not doing anything, it's not grounded, it'll be open. And of course the same rules apply from the CDI. You have to be in neutral. There is the neutral switch, which brings me to the next jobby do. Right here is the two, here, let me, one more thing. So these two wires right here, these are the clutch. I don't know how I explain this, but this is when you need to pull the clutch in order to start it. It allows you to start it with the clutch pulled in, and that's these two wires right here, which were these two wires right here. And this goes into the clutch switch. So when you pull the clutch in, these two are connected. That's basically what happens. So they hook up to your clutch lever, the OEM clutch lever, which I have also changed to a different clutch lever, so I don't have these switches anymore, which is another reason why I had to do this. Anyway, so when you pull the clutch in, these two connect, and then you can start it. That allows the CDI. So what I've done is I just tricked it. So I just hooked them together permanently so that these two are always there. So now, when you don't need to pull the clutch in, it'll hit the starter, it'll bump the starter no matter what gear you're in. Now once again, the CDI has different rules. It'll run the starter in any gear you want. So I could be in 5th gear, it'll bump the starter, and it'll launch the thing forward. It won't start though, because the CDI only allows spark in 1st gear. That's part of the neutral switch, part of the neutral kind of stuff going on and stuff like that. So you can't start it in reverse, junk like that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I left those rules the same. So we still got to be in 1st gear, but it'll start in 1st gear like normal, and it will start any other time. So there's that. Okay, so that takes care of the starter switch, which is up there. Takes care of when it will start right here, and takes care of another when it will start, on-off engine kill, which is right here. So we got rid of these. These three right here are the headlight and the taillight, which are part of this switch also, right? Okay, so these three right here are what's next, and these three right here. So I used a triple clip on here, a waterproof clip, so I can unhook this as well. So the way this works is the blue right here is the regular running light, the headlight. The white right here is the bright headlight, and the brown right here is the tail light. These things are pretty cool. When I did these wires right here, once again, this is the blue is the headlight, the white is the bright headlight, and the brown is the tail light. So these little connectors right here are totally waterproof, and they are cool as hell. They come in a little pack like this. I got all different wire sizes. They look like this right here. Let's see if I can, there you go. They look like this right here. And the way these work is you put one side of the wire through here, the other side of the wire through here, and you make sure they meet in the center where the bare wire is. And then right here, if you can see this right here, this is a piece of solder that's already in there. So all you do is make sure that the two wires are connected at this juncture right here, and then heat it up with a heat gun. And what it does, as you can see, is it melts the solder around the two wires that are connected, and also heats up the outside plastic to form to waterproof barrier. So these are totally waterproof and totally easy. All you gotta do is connect them and heat them up with the heat gun. So basically you use this reflector, right? So when you turn your heat gun on, you put the wire in between here and it reflects off the back and it heats the whole thing. So when you're heating it up, you just do this. And it melts it on there and it melts the solder. It's beautiful. I'll put a link to these connectors right here if you want to get yourself some of these fine connectors. Once again, they're very simple and very easy. In the description, I'll put a link to these. Many different sizes, many different sizes. You can buy just packs of the size you need also. I'll link to those too. But anyway, they are hooked up into two separate switches. So I have a headlight which has on, which is regular, and then I have up one more, which is the brights. Once again, on and then off. The headlight's off, headlights on, headlights bright. Now you notice the taillight doesn't have anything to do with it here. I couldn't wire the headlight and the taillights together because of the way this switch is right here. I like it, actually. I like it a lot. And the taillight right here is on a switch of its own. So I got to turn the taillight on and the headlight on together. So this will be the headlight and the taillight. But the taillight will stay on, whether it's in bright or dim. And technically, if I turn the headlights off, the taillight will stay on, which isn't really that big a deal. I don't really care. I like it. I like having my switches like this. It's pretty cool. We'll get into how it works in a second here. And then I have a LED light bar, which is these right here. And basically that's this wire that is not connected because I can't connect this wire. Obviously it's kind of short, but it's long up here. But I already have the ground connected. Basically this one is a little bit different than the rest. The rest of them are all grounded off the switch right here. And again, we'll get into the power and the ground in just 1 second. So basically you can see the switches, all the stuff is going on. There is no ground or power yet, right? Okay, let's get rid of this. We got this all covered. The short dashes, the black wire with the short dashes is key on power. So that's where the hot comes into the switch. This is the hot wire. And this is, the green is ground. So the hot wire and the ground. So let's get into that. Let's get rid of this stuff. All right, so now, what I was just explaining. Into your switch, here is the hot and the ground. So the black wire with the short dashes is right here. And the green is ground. So, basically what I've done in all of these switches is all of these are ground. I use black and red for traditional ground. See, black and red in my jumpers. So I jumped all the grounds. These are all the grounds. And I jumped all the hots. We need all these hot wires. And I put these two together. They're all waterproof. Everything's good to go. Yeah, we're good to go here. Everything is hot and grounded. So, check it out. So now when I turn my key on, I got the low lights. You know, in your car, right, when you turn headlights on, you can see all the dash lights and all the stuff come on. Well, I got dash lights. Woo! I'm cool. I'm cool as hell, man. So anyway, what I was getting at is now you can see how this works. Let me step back here, Bobby Jack. We can put these two in the shot and I can show you what's happening. So now you can see we got the lights on, right? The dash lights, so to speak, are on. And if we turn on the headlight, boom, we got a headlight. And if we want the brights, boom, we got the brights. And then we turn it off. So we got on, brights, and then off. It's back down again. And if you want to run both, so back here, I don't know if I can get these both in the shot. There, maybe. So now my tail light is on a separate switch. There you go, you can see it back there. So now if you want headlights and taillights, I got to turn them both on. There you go. We got the headlight and the tail light together. And we can also run the running light on another switch, which will be this guy. Yeah, this switch right here is going to get mounted right up on here. And this is a 2006 hybrid-ish. So it's 2006, 2007 plastics and stuff like that. It'll have the hood on it, so it'll be mounted underneath the hood. But this little opening right here, I'll be able to hit those switches whenever I'm up there. And there you go. The wiring is done. Anyway, let's pack this guy up in there. And yeah, let's get this packed up in there and get the plastics on. All right, so let's get this switch mounted up. Basically, we're going to put it right in here. But we want this wire right here, we want this guy to go under. And that's why I did all these quick connectors. Because we're going to have to undo half of this stuff and then plug it back in again. So let's see how we did with the quick connectors. And that's our headlight and our tail light. Okay, and then let's undo these guys. The power and the ground. Let's just move this out of the way for a second. So then we have two more switches, which are the starter switch. Like so. And that's all there is to it. Now, we can put this guy up underneath. And see, look at that. Now we have what resembles some sort of OEM switch, which it's not, but it kind of resembles one, I guess, except for these guys, which are pretty cool. And the taped off wire. And the tape together. Alright, so it doesn't resemble it at all. But it looks professional anyhow. Alright, so what we're going to do, basically, is this guy is going to get mounted in here. Like so. No, not down there. We're going to mount it about right here. But we're going to do this temporary first because I want to make sure that everything flows where it needs to go before I drill any holes. But what's basically going to happen when I'm done, when I'm ready to go, is I'm going to drill little holes through this bracket right here. And then I'm going to put some screws through here and attach it to this bracket right here. And then I'm going to make a bracket on this guy right here that comes across, and we'll bolt onto this, and then we'll go across and bolt onto these guys right here. But just for all intensive purposes and getting this where we want it to go, I'm just going to use zip ties and zip tie it to this for right now. Let's get it hooked up and get it plunked in there. So the easiest way would be to hook it up before we put it down there, which makes more sense. So let's hook up the little ones first. We'll hook up the power. We'll hook up the power last, obviously. But before we do this switch, let us figure out where this guy is going to go. Oh yeah, I still have this, huh? All right, so I say this wire should drop through here, and I think we'll zip tie it right to here. That should give us plenty of room to maneuver. So yeah, these two, and we'll make sure that this guy comes up through here. And see this right here, this is the OEM, this plugs into the OEM clip down here. And this is the headlights right here that plug into the headlight. They plug into this guy right here. And the rest of the wires come up out of here, and that's where all this is. So that's why we did it like that. So I'm basically going to, I think we're gonna take this and we're gonna zip tie it right there. We want to keep it away from the oil cooler down here, that's for sure. So let's pull it back out through here. Huh, maybe we go okay, I think we're going to do that. I'm going to take a zip tie. I'm going to zip it on there. And I'm going to take a zip tie. And I'm going to zip it on here. And then we have all these that are just hanging out at the bottom, which is exactly where we want them. And I think I'm going to, now because this comes unplugged. This is the headlight, so if you ever take the headlight off, we can unclip this, and we don't want these clipped to it. These right here, I don't really think we need to do anything with it right now. We just need to hook it up. I think they can just dangle in here for right now. That's a good idea. All right, so we got this coming through. Let's make sure that we hook everything up through. So this is going to get connected into here. if you put it on the right direction. There you go. Okay. And then this, well, let's do our switches. So these right here is our starter switch. Okay. Starter switch is hooked up. And then this guy right here, these two are the power and the ground. So that's these two. And we're gonna save those for last. This guy right here is our running light, which we have down here. So we have a problem, Houston. That guy cannot go through there, of course. And of course we did it. Fuckery. So we're gonna have to hook that ground for a second. And we're gonna have to pull that out. And then we're gonna have to make sure this one stays out. It goes into there. And then let's make sure that this guy comes underneath and goes into here. Which you can't see, but I'm grounding it to the headlight bracket right here. Okay. And now we come underneath and hook up the ground and the power. We don't have power though until the key's on. So technically right now we should be ready to rock and roll. So let's get some of this crap out of the way. I wonder why we're backwards. And right there is where we would like it. So, let's turn the key on and see if we sorted anything out or we got anything buttered up. Look at that, we got lights. We got everything. It all works. So, let's turn the key off and bolt this sucker down and see if we can't do some more routing. Okay, so yeah, what we're going to do is we should have went underneath that wire. God damn it. This one doesn't matter. All right, so we're gonna unplug this guy for a second. And we're gonna go underneath this wire. No, not through there. There. God damn, this is ridiculous. So this ground wire needs to go back through there also. And the ground wire for this needs to come around all of this stuff, I think. There. Because yeah, it just belongs in there. This is the switch. These two right here is a ground and the starter switch, which they can get clipped together. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so now I make sure all of our switches are hooked back up and good. I believe we're good. So then this needs to go right about in here somewhere. And one there. Look at that. That sucker's in pretty good shape right there. That's what we're doing. This is temporary, remember? We're just gonna feel this one out and make sure that this is where we want it to be. And then if it is, if this works out good, and this is where we want it to be, we're gonna drill the holes through here and we're gonna mount it up. So far, I think that looks pretty good. Now let's make sure it all works again. LEDs on. Headlights on. Bright lights on. Tail light on. Got our little low lights on. Perfect. All this stuff seems to be out of the way of everything. This is out of the way of everything. This is out of the way. This is clamped on over here, which is nice. This goes underneath, which is nice. And all of this is out of the way. There's a lot of room underneath here. We still can steer. All right, check it out. So now that we got our switch in there, it's all bolted down where it belongs. All the wires are tucked in. We're ready to go. Let's flip the key on and see what we got. Boom. Look at that. We got the running lights working. My neutral light's still on. That's always good. So if we want to run the lights, basically we need to turn the headlight and the tail light on. So we got a tail light, and we got the headlight, and we got brights. And we got a light bar. Boom. Now let's turn off the lights. What? Oh yeah, dogs. Check this out. So the lights are off. We turn the key on. Boom. We got our dash lights that will come on, the little low lights. That don't do anything to the electrical system whatsoever. They're just tiny little low-level lights. And then now, we want headlights. Boom! With the tail light. Boom! Look at that. All right. Want the brights? Boom! We got brights. You want to get really, 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 really bright? Boom! We got a light bar. Woohoo! Look at that shit. That is the bomb, is it not? It is. We can even run a tail light by itself if you want to. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but you can do that here. Or, watch this, man. If we're running from the cops, oh, no, that doesn't work, sorry. That's the tail, that's the brake lights. You want to turn off your brake light and your rear light all together when you're running from the cops, but I wouldn't know anything about that, so yeah, nope, you don't want to do that. If you don't use the brakes though, check it out. You can still see where you're going and nobody can see you. Pretty cool. You can run that like this too. See, this is the cool thing. What if you don't want to run a headlight, but you want the tail light, but you want the tail light to be on? You can run a running light and a tail light. Boom! You can do whatever we want. Pretty cool. That is pretty fucking cool. There we go. Nothing caught up, nothing did anything. Let's put the plastics on. Call it a day. All right, so check this out. Somebody said once that I didn't go far enough with this build. That I should have showed the video on how to put the plastics on and all that good stuff. All right, I'm gonna do that right now. We got that lighting, we got the switches in there. We got these all tightened down. We're ready to rock and roll. These all work. And let's get this thing buttoned back up. So basically, plastics are pretty simple. All there is there's one bracket right here that bolts onto here. And these right here were already there from before. When we did that a long time ago, we put those in with the headlight. I'll put a link to the video that shows where all this stuff went in. But yeah, basically this last piece right here is the only piece that belongs next. And then what we did was we hooked up the plastics right here, these little clips. These pieces go in with these little clips, and then this little notch right here goes underneath, and then you just take one of your little plastic plugs and they just clip right on in there, and that keeps that guy on. And same with this front piece right here. You might get these brand new. These are OEM plastics. So they have a separate piece in the front that goes right here. And it just does the same way. It's got a little clippy piece right here. Little piece that clips in right there. And little notches. And that's about all there is to these. But before we ruin anything and get everything all jacked up, let us put these plastics on. So basically, you're going to just feed these guys through here. And what's going to happen is, there is, right here, there's a bolt hole. This bolt is going to go through here. And then there's another bolt hole right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this is going to go in front of this piece right here. So what you want to do is make sure that this goes on the outside of that bracket. And it's kind of tricky sometimes because you need to get up over these brackets and underneath there. So yeah, these just go on the outside. Oh, you want to make sure that you go underneath the headlight as well. Anyway, basically there's a little hole right here, and that's going to go right onto this headlight bracket. So it's going to sit just like that. And what I like to do is, of course I don't have any with me, make sure that that stays there. What I do is I hook these two up first into here because they keep everything else from moving. And these are the same little plastic clips that are everywhere. So you just get everything lined up the way it's supposed to be, sitting underneath the headlight. And you put one of these in that side. You make sure that this one is where it belongs. And you make sure this one has reverse. So make sure that that's not caught up in there. You got the reverse switch. Okay, and it goes up in there. And there you go. See? Now everything is pretty much not going to move on you. Look at that. Just those two little clips kind of hold that piece in there. All right, next, before we do anything else, after we got those two clips in there holding everything down, you can see that we have the bowl hole lined up here, and we got this on the outside and the bowl hole lined up here. But before we go any farther, let's take our reverse switch and just put it right up through the hole. And see, all it does is just sit just like that. All right, so with that in place, sitting in the hole like it's supposed to be, right, like so, just goes over the top, like so. And then these guys just clip on right here like so. So then there's just a screw here, and they just go into the little slots that poke out. The reverse switch is a pain in the ass because it needs to thread up into this guy to keep it from going back and forth. All right. Reverse switch is on. All right, next, as long as we're down here, we're gonna hit our two little bolts, our two little flange bolts. They look like these guys right here. And we got one here. And one here. So these guys I'm torquing to 88 inch-pounds. Which is going to be around, I don't know, 7.33 repeating. But 88 is a beautiful number, so 88 inch-pounds. 88. 88. All right, now before we bolt down the other side, we are going to want to put our tank thing on there because since this is loose, this one is tighter. We want to, before we bolt this one down, we want to make sure we get our tank protector on there. Let's just get this out of here. And we're going to have to remove the gas cap. So you want to make sure this end right here is going to go around the steering stem. So it's going to go up underneath. There you go. It's going to go over the top here. And it's going to catch these little ridges that are in the plastics, and then this is going to snap itself, there you go, in there. And then we can get our gas cap back on. You can leave it off if you want to, but I just put it back on because I'm on an enclosed garage and it keeps the fumes down. So anyway. Yeah, then you want to line this one up and it takes another one of these little plastic deals. And then I have a whole bag of these things. These are a little thicker ones. They're not quite the same size as OEM. They are here, but the heads are a little bigger. That's what she said. Woo! No, she didn't. So I got a whole bag of these brand new. I put in a brand new one every time because these things don't come out very good, these aftermarket ones. They look good the very first time, but once you take them out, they break and everything else. But hey, they're really cheap, and what the hell? They hold it in perfectly. So there you go. There's one there, and there's one up here. And then, of course, the same on the other side. Make sure that this is snapped in there and the holes line up. And then the one in the front. And there we go. All right, and then we got a bolt here. And we got a bolt here. And then we'll tighten these down to 88 inch-pounds. 88. All right, so next we got these Allen heads. They look like this, these little Allen guys with the little flange around the bottom. And they go right here. And I got myself some brand new ones from Honda, because these guys are notorious for, when you buy a used one, getting them all stripped out. And I didn't have any anyway, so I bought new ones, but they're really cheap. They still make them. Anyway, they look like this again. Yeah. And then I'm going to torque these to 84 inch-pounds, which is 7 foot-pounds. 84. Yeah, so mine's got a hole drilled through it instead of the threads like you're supposed to. So I'm going to put the regular Allen head in there like you're supposed to with a nut on the back, and I got a blue loctited. And in order for me to get down there, I'm going to have to hold it with this guy. 84. All right, so now the rear plastics. You want to make sure that these guys line up with underneath the seat. We'll show you here in a second. All right, so line them up. So there it is. We're in the slots. And then you want to make sure that you get that guy, there you go, underneath the button. And now these guys can just line up in there. And there you are. Woo-wee! And now there's just one more thing left to do. And we're going to put the hood on, and we're going to see where our cool new switches are. I got switches! All right, let's do it. All right, so yeah, here's where we just did the switches. And you can tell that the hood's gonna go, we got the hood that's gonna go right over the top of here. And then we'll still be able to see our switches right there from when we're riding the four-wheeler. So, the way this works, there's a clip right here that goes in this little slot right here and on the other side as well. And then these little dealios plunk into the rubber. So first you want to make sure that the front ones are lined up and they slide in. So we'll put that one in there, and we'll put that one in there. And now that those are lined up, that's all you really need to do. Now you just jump on it. And make sure that one goes in as well. So this one, and there we are. One hood on. All right, folks. Well, there we go. Now, let's give it to, let's show you what it looks like from when we're riding it. There we are, check that out. So now, we are all buttoned up and looking beautiful. And we're gonna show you what it looks like when you jump on and ride it now. Yep, when we get on here and ride it, now we got the switch over here. And check this out. I don't know if you'll be able to see these or not. Oh yeah, look at that. So see, now you can see our switches are down here. And of course they're just switches for lights and stuff like that, so they don't require any emergency. So look at that. Turn them on. And then we'll be like, hey, I want the light bar. Boom. We got the light bar. I want the headlight. Boom. We got headlights. And the tail light. So yeah, they're tucked away out of the way. And it'll be much easier without a camera in my hand because all I gotta do is just reach around the side right here. And go. And now we got front brakes too. Woo! We're ready to rock and roll. Alright, she looks pretty good. Let's give her a test and see how everything works, and we're gonna take it for a cruise. And yeah, let's get this stuff out of the way and get her cruised up and ready to rock and roll.